Alright, I'm here with a look at my Nintendo DS collection for the year 2021. I figured I'd go over my DS collection. DS is an awesome library. It is really fascinating library. It's kind of this like gold rush of really, there's a lot of garbage on the DS obviously, but it's a gold rush of like a lot of really interesting games that could be, developed for a low budget, but, still hit a lot of people. A lot of, massive DS install base of 150 million or whatever. So it's really cool, and I've always really liked the DS. Unfortunately, and this is going to be kind of a topic of this video a little bit, I keep telling myself, yeah, I'm going to, do some DS collecting. I'm going to pick up a lot of good stuff for it. And as of, 2020, and we'll go into this, DS prices have skyrocketed. It's gone nuts. I mean, even as of like this last month or so, DS prices have skyrocketed. I would say right now I would hold off on getting any higher end DS games and kind of maybe wait for that to go down a little bit. But don't take my advice. Don't wait and then have something maybe go up even higher. Maybe use some discretion with that. But I'll go through my DS collection, kind of talk about some of this stuff, give some thoughts, and also experiences how I got some of this stuff and whatever. First, I've never actually done this in any of my DS collections, but I figured I'd actually go into the loose DS games I own. So if you're new to the channel, I do most of my retro, quote unquote retro, pretty much older, anything older than, I guess maybe PS3 era, even I don't know. I do a lot of my older finds are from garage sales, flea markets, pawn shops, stuff like that. So I got a lot of these for $1 or $2, especially loose DS games no one really cares about. I mean, we can all thank GameStop for loose DS games because they throw the cases away. So thank you to GameStop for pretty much destroying the DS market, and that's why you see such a massive difference in price between loose and complete when it comes to DS. But I'll stop rambling now. Here's my first little row of DS loose games. I got Mega Man Battle Network 5, that's what that is? Yeah. And then Mega Man Star Force 2. This was actually not too long ago Goodwill find for $1. I also have Heroes of Mana. Two that I'd really like to get the cases for are Castlevania Portrait of Ruin and Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. I would really like to get the cases for those ones. And those have definitely gone up in price. It's crazy. I mean, they were always kind of pricey, but also got Dragon Quest Monsters Joker. And then here I got Fossil Fighters, which Fossil Fighters is kind of weird. You kind of forget Nintendo tried to, do this IP with kind of dinosaur related stuff. It was like definitely aimed toward a younger audience, but still kind of interesting. Feels like no one talks about it. Also got WarioWare Touched and Plants vs. Zombies, which is a pretty decent port of the classic mobile game. Then finally here I got Metroid Prime Pinball, and one of the games I really need to find a case for. I'd love to find a case for this. If anyone has a case for this game or any of these games, please let me know and we can maybe work out a trade or something. But Flower, Sun, and Rain. I found this at a pawn shop last summer for $3. They had all their Mario games were like $10, $15, and this was sitting there for $3. This is a Grasshopper manufacturer game from Suda51. Very interesting game. Maybe it wasn't Suda. Maybe Suda was not part of that yet. I know Suda had something to do with it because it was originally a PS2 game that they kind of like ported to the DS in like a kind of demake type way. Interesting stuff. Anyway, I'll go into my collection now of games with cases. Most of my games are complete. Not all of them, though. But first game here, 999, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. I'll be honest, I really like puzzle games. I really like, I wouldn't say this is a visual novel, but that kind of style of game, mystery games, adventure games. But this one is just not really one of my favorites, which is weird. I really like Uchikoshi's next game, AI the Somnium Files. I think that game's excellent. But when it comes to this one and the other, I tried the second. So I finished 999. I went through all the way through 999, and it's good. It's fine. I didn't really care for the second one. I couldn't get into it. But good game. I mean, but definitely not one of my favorite of this style of game. Is what I'm trying to get at. I got here Animal Crossing Wild World. I'm a huge Animal Crossing fan, but this is kind of the one I skipped out on. So I started on Animal Crossing on GameCube, and I played the heck out of that game. And this one just kind of passed me by. I didn't have a DS until 2007. And by that point, I was kind of just waiting for Animal Crossing on the Wii, so I didn't play this one until years later. It's neat. Getting rid of real world um, holidays is a little lame. Kind of takes some of the magic away, but I know a lot of people really had a lot of this. The game sold a ton. A lot of people really like this one, but it's just one I didn't get to till later, and I was playing City Folk by that point. And you'd rather been playing that. This was an excellent garage sale find for $1. Castlevania Order of Ecclesia. Such a shame that Konami's just not doing anything with Castlevania, especially they were really just cranking out some gems with these 2D Castlevanias. GBA games were great, well regarded games. They were just cranking them out too. We got 3 of these DS Castlevanias, and I don't know why Konami has to be the way they are. I'll say that. One of the weirdest games, Chibi Robo Park Patrol. I almost said Ziplash. Which, obviously, Chibi Robo follow up for the GameCube, but only available ever at Walmart. I don't know why. I'm not sure why Nintendo did this, but I don't even remember very much of this game. I know I played it at some point, but I want to get the first Chibi Robo game, but I don't even remember this one. I gotta be honest. Here's the one that just, absolutely skyrocketed. Chrono Trigger DS. Which is interesting because I actually got this and a lot of the Square Enix games in my collection when Square Enix used to do their Black Friday sales. This was 2014, I think. They used to do these Black Friday sales where they would liquidate everything on their store. And they would have these games brand new sealed. I think each of their DS games were $3 brand new. It was either 3 or 6, something like that, brand new. And I bought most of the Square Enix games from my collection are actually from that. And this was in there. And this is a good port of Chrono Trigger, obviously. But so funny to think that, Square Enix is fire sailing off those games back in the 3DS era. And now look what's happened. This is an interesting one for a couple of reasons. So this is Contact. This was published by Atlas. Developed, I don't remember the name of the team that developed this, but it is Grasshopper. I'm stupid. Grasshopper developed this. Actually, Suda didn't really have anything to do with it, but Goichi Suda didn't have much to do with it. But it's like an Earthbound-like, really interesting. It has conflicting art styles, and it's a really fascinating game. I would definitely recommend it. So I actually just picked this game up. This is one I've been wanting for my collection, but I just never been able to find it. And I actually picked it up at my local game store for $20 back in February, and I saw that this game skyrocketed to over $60. I'm like, wow, holy crap. It's really is the last month has just absolutely, things have just gone woof through the roof. Crash Boom Bang. This is definitely that kind of dark era of Crash in between the classic games and the Insane trilogy. Diddy Kong Racing. This one's always just interesting to me because it was actually developed by Rare for the DS and published by Nintendo. That's kind of weird. There was also a Viva Pinata game on the DS developed by Rare, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Which is so weird because no one really ever talks about those. But that was after Microsoft owned Rare, so it was very, very strange thing to exist. But Diddy Kong Racing's fun time, good port of it. One of the most forgotten Nintendo games on the planet. You'd be hard-pressed to have anyone tell you anything about DK Jungle Climber, but it certainly does exist at the very least. If anyone was ever questioning a DK Jungle Climber existing. Another game that shot up recently, Dragon Quest IV. I got this one at a GameStop, actually, during a Black Friday deal, I remember. These Dragon Quest ports are well beloved to the DS, and I really like Square Enix. Really went above and beyond to get every single mainline Dragon Quest game is playable on a Nintendo handheld, which is really cool when you think about it. Obviously, we have the DS ones. 1 and 2 are on Game Boy Color, or maybe just original Game Boy, and then 4, 5, 6 and are on DS, and then 7 and 8 got ported to the 3DS, and then 9 is on the DS, which I also have 9. I'll pull that one up. 9 was actually developed originally for the DS, which is really interesting too. Obviously Dragon Quest's MO is getting put on the system that's the most relevant in Japan. But it's very interesting to see a game, Dragon Quest 7 on PS1, Dragon Quest 8 on PS2, to go then down for 9 to a handheld is really interesting. And then they went to an MMO for 10, which is on 3DS, I'm pretty sure, and it's on Switch in Japan. We didn't get it over here. And then technically 11S is on a handheld since the Switch is. So every Dragon Quest mainline game is available on a Nintendo handheld. Dragon Quest Monsters 2 Joker. I have the first one, card only, as you saw earlier, and here's the second one. I haven't tried this one out too much, so I've heard good things about those, and I've heard good things. I want to get the Dragon Quest Rocket Slime game or whatever. I've heard good things about that one. Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon. Pretty cool port or remake of Fire Emblem 1, which is so weird that they didn't drop this on the Switch. They dropped the localization of the NES or the Famicom Fire Emblem. So strange, because we already have a superior version that was localized. So really, really weird, but good port, or not a port, good remake. I hope they continue the trend of remaking the classic Fire Emblems. I know they remade Fire Emblem Gaiden for the 3DS. This one's still sealed from the Square Enix fire sale, Final Fantasy IV. This game's always weird to me. I feel like this one just gets completely forgotten. Final Fantasy XII Revenant Wings. Yes, there was a Final Fantasy XII universe game on the DS. And it's another one. I wasn't big on Final Fantasy XII, so I've never played that one properly. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Ring of Fates. This is another one I don't have too much knowledge of. I'm not huge on Crystal Chronicles either, to be honest. Then another one I have sealed, Final Fantasy The Four Heroes of Light, which I believe is actually kind of a follow-up to, not a follow-up, kind of like the precursor to the Bravely Default series. So you can kind of see the inspiration here in the art. But yeah, another one that I got from the Square Enix website 7 or 8 years ago or whenever that was. So thank you, Square Enix. Another one I got from the Square Enix. These have been on the backlog for a long time. Final Fantasy Tactics A2. I think they were $6. They might have been $3. I don't remember. Game & Watch Collection. This was a Club Nintendo bonus back in the day. It is a pretty bare bones Game & Watch collection. But it is interesting that it was only available through Club Nintendo. I mean, they had to pay to get this thing B rated and everything, and gave it art and everything for it only to ever be on Club Nintendo. Here's a game I love, and it's such a shame this game is absolutely skyrocketed in price. Ghost Trick, Phantom Detective. This is like a top 3 DS game for me. I love this game. It's so good. It is directed by Shu Takumi, who also did the Ace Attorney series, which I'm a huge fan of. It's same team as Ace Attorney and all that, and it's awesome. So it is a game you start off and you're a ghost, and you have to figure out your own murder. And every time that happens, something ridiculous happens, or someone dies who has the information that you need to find out who killed you and who you were, because you also don't know who you were. And so you have to do these elaborate, like, Rube Goldberg puzzles to make sure that they don't get killed. And you can rewind time, and it's such a great game, such a great idea. I love this game. So when this game turned 10 years old, either January or February, and I remember I was tweeting about it, saying like, "Oh, it's such a shame that there's no re-release of this." And tracking down a physical copy is like, $50 complete. And now this game's over $100. There's a lot of demand for this game. And once again, this is another game. I got this game for really dirt cheap back in like 2013 on eBay. There was like a whole bunch of brand new copies on eBay for like $14 or something like that. Definitely not appreciated at its time. I don't remember anyone really talking too much about this one, but this is an absolute gem. Definitely worth your time. I don't know if it got taken down. I believe this game is on the iOS. I think you can play it on iOS. So I would definitely recommend playing it. I'm sure, iOS, it's kind of made for touchscreen, so iOS would be a perfectly fine way of playing it. But I definitely recommend playing that one. It's a gem. Just recently got the case for this. I had this one loose forever, but I had the case for this one forever, but I just recently got the game for this. So I haven't tried this one out, but Golden Sun Dark Dawn. Kind of a shame that I don't think I've heard too much good about this one. I know the first two are pretty well beloved, but I don't think people like this one too much. But it's kind of a shame we don't hear too much about Golden Sun even anymore. I don't think it's ever going to come back. I think Camelot's going to always be on Mario Sports duty. Here's a random one. Herbie Rescue Rally. As a kid, I really liked the 70s and I think they were in 60s and 70s. Herbie the Love Bug movies. Don't ask me why. I was really into it. I don't know. I don't know why. But I saw they had a game for it. I found this for like $1 or $2. And I saw there was a game for it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to pick that up. And it's a pretty bare bones racing game. You get to play as Herbie. I mean, what else? What else can you say? Here's another gem. This one hasn't skyrocketed in price as much, so I would recommend maybe getting it before it gets even higher. But Hotel Dusk. This is a really cool game. You hold the DS kind of like a book. And it is, more visual novel than most games that get classified as visual novel. It has a really cool art style, like this kind of pencil-drawn art style. Really interesting premise and story. This is one I'd like to go back and play again. And it actually got a sequel, but we did not get it here. And I would like to get that game before it gets too expensive. It came out in Europe, so it is localized in English. Called Last Window. And these were both developed by a company called Sing that's now defunct. And they did like a spiritual successor on the 3DS eShop that I'd like to check out as well. But I just never got around to. But yeah, this game's awesome. Sorry for bumping the camera there, but this game is great. Really, really cool. Another gem that's highly recommended, published by Nintendo too. So another Square Enix sale, fine, $358 over 2 days. Kingdom Hearts. And Kingdom Hearts Recoded, which I believe is a port of a mobile game in Japan to the DS to make it. I can't follow Kingdom Hearts. I like Kingdom Hearts. I like the gameplay and the exploring the worlds, I guess, but I can't be bothered to follow the lore. I'm sorry, Kingdom Hearts fans. Kirby Mass Attack. This is a pretty late release game. I remember getting this game like after the 3DS was out, and I like this game. It's a lot of fun. You get a bunch of little Kirbys, and it's kind of almost Pikmin-y in a way. But yeah, this is definitely a fun one. I'm kind of hit or miss on Kirby. It depends. There's a certain Kirby games that I really like a lot, and then certain ones don't really do much for me, but that one's pretty fun. Kirby Superstar Ultra, another good one. Probably the definitive Kirby DS game. Some games I'd like to give another try, but I've never really got into. Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. And actually, I'll be honest, I've never played this one, Spirit Tracks. I've never really played this one in any capacity longer than maybe an hour or so. I don't know. I just wish you could control it with the D-pad. I don't want to have to drag Link around with the stylus. I just think that's kind of annoying. But these are two other games that have shot up lately, which is a shame. I would like to give these ones a chance at some point. They're on the list. I have a pretty huge DS backlog. I really still like going back to the DS, honestly. I love the DSi XL. I think that's an excellent version of the system, and I just really like going back to it. So these are ones I'd like to revisit again, give them more of a chance, because I think if I can just convince myself, it's not that bad, you have to drag in with the stylus, maybe I'll like it more. But, yeah, you never know. Mario Luigi Partners in Time, and Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. Rest in peace, Alpha Dream. The studio that developed these is now defunct, which is sad. Didn't seem like they were cut out for HD game development. But I feel like this is kind of the last era of Mario and Luigi really being great, this series. The 3DS one, Dream Team, that one was alright. But after that, it was like, ugh. I really liked Partners in Time. I liked having the 4-party member, and I really liked that one. I think that Bowser's Inside Story is a much better game, though, overall. But, yeah, really good ones. And they did remake Bowser's Inside Story, but I feel like people don't like that remake. You can leave in the comments if it's a good remake, but I know that it's a bit contentious. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. I don't really have much to say about the DS iteration. I played a lot of the Wii, iteration when I was younger, and it's not a great game, but seeing Mario and Sonic team up, are you kidding me? Feels like another kind of forgotten game, Mario Hoops 3-on-3. This was actually developed by Square Enix, which is really bizarre, but they developed it, and there are Square Enix characters in the game. It's kind of like Fortune Street for the Wii, where you got like Moogle and Slime and stuff in the game. There are Square Enix characters in the game, so very, very strange. And I mean, even references right here in the back, and run into the characters from Final Fantasy. You would have thought this would have been a bigger deal than it actually was, especially when people thought it was like impossible for Final Fantasy characters to get in Smash Brothers, and they're sitting here in Mario Hoops 3-on-3, and the DS just rotting away. Mario Kart DS, another such case where I just didn't have this game as a kid, and I had Mario Kart Wii instead, so it was kind of like, why do I need to go back? But, I've played all the courses of Mario Kart DS. It's a fun one, but, I mean, the thing with Mario Kart is like, what point do I have in revisiting anything further back than 8? 8 is, I feel like, just perfection to me, honestly. Mario Party DS. There's something, I always feel kind of something sad about, Mario Party on the handheld. Because it's like, you never get everyone to have your DS come over and play in a circle Mario Party, so don't have too much experience with this one. These were still when Hudson was developing them, yeah. Mario vs. Donkey Kong Miniland Mayhem. This is a series that felt like they were just cranking these out, and it's like, ugh. Why so many of them? I mean, they're fun, they're interesting, but it's like, felt like there was a period where they're like, I got another one. Especially when they started introducing like DSiWare and the eShop and stuff. They're like, we got 5 more Mario vs. Donkey Kong games coming tomorrow. I don't know. Here's one I've not played through. I'd like to play through this one, Mega Man ZX. I have the Mega Man ZX collection now on the Switch, so I'd probably play it there. But got to play through this one eventually. Heard good things. Wasn't this Inti Creates did this one? I believe so, yeah. It doesn't say on the back. I think Inti Creates did this. I might be wrong. But they're best known for now, like the Gunvolt games and what's the Castlevania, the Bloodstained or whatever. I might be completely wrong on that. Metroid Prime Hunters, kind of a cool idea. I know a lot of people really loved the multiplayer. People really thought that was great. I never played the multiplayer. But kind of an interesting idea, kind of impressive for the DS, even if it's not exactly anything to write home about gameplay-wise otherwise. Namco Museum DS. It's always good to have one of these little, compilation games. Especially, this is a pretty good lineup here. Pac-Man, Galaga, Dig Dug, and all that. So, always good to have one of these. This was a garage sale find for maybe $1 or $2. New Super Mario Brothers. I feel like a lot of people, I am pretty tired of this series, but it doesn't seem like it's coming back anytime soon. I actually probably would welcome one if it came back, honestly. But New Super Mario Brothers was interesting for the time, even though I don't really think it's much to write home about nowadays. I really prefer like New Super Mario Brothers Wii and New Super Mario Brothers U. But the game is, 15 years old now? It's not New Super Mario Brothers anymore, Nintendo. What's your problem? Nintendogs, Dalmatian and Friends. I really like the idea of Nintendogs. I think it's really, really, cute idea. Really, really interesting implementation. I know Miyamoto was like a dog breeder or something, so he wanted to do this. And it sold 10 trillion copies. The Nintendogs were everywhere. So obviously very successful. I'm surprised with the Switch. They're kind of reviving a lot of their more casual brands. I'm surprised with the Switch. They're not trying to bring back Nintendogs. Okami Den, kind of a follow-up, but not a direct sequel to Okami. Have not played. One of the backlog games is Okami. I'm playing that one and playing Okami Den. It's on the backlog. At some point, I got to get through it. I've played Okami, but I've never finished it, so it's on the backlog. So I am going to go through Ace Attorney. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Let's see how many of these I can get. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All, the sequel. And Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations, which is the greatest of the series, in my opinion. I'm a massive Ace Attorney fan. Anyone who watched the channel for a while or follows me on Twitter at Objo Gaming would know that. And I think these games are great. I would recommend playing it now on the HD collection on the PS4 or Xbox One, Switch. I'd recommend playing it there. It's just the best way to play them now. But highly, highly, highly recommend it. If you're going to play any game series at my recommendation, I recommend these ones. They're fantastic. They're really great puzzle games. You play an attorney. You have point and click sections where you look for information. Then you have the courtroom sections where you kind of go through, these kind of scripted events, but then you get to a point where you have to cross-examine and you have to kind of present evidence and object and press for more information. It's great. I love this series. I played this original trilogy a ton of times. They're fantastic. So definitely recommended from me. And yeah, I would say play the PS4 and PS4 and Switch and Xbox One HD always goes on sale for like $15, which is a steal, and it's a great way to play those games. We're going to a little bit more complicated territory now for Ace Attorney. This is Ace Attorney 4, Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. They kind of tried to do like a half reboot and then walk back on it. So Phoenix Wright is now the Ace Attorney protagonist once again. But this game's all right. It's a little on the weak side. I think the middle cases are kind of weak, but I think this game's pretty good overall. Unfortunately, there's no way to play this other than this release of the game and also a 3DS release. So you can get it on the 3DS eShop, and that goes on sale pretty frequently too. So if you do play the original games, I'm going to guess that they'll release a HD port of 4, 5, and 6. 5 and 6 being 3DS games, but might have to wait for that. But good game. Now these games I don't think will probably ever get any kind of HD treatment or anything. Miles Edgeworth, Ace Attorney Investigations, and the sequel. I got the sequel on my trip to Japan. The first game I think is pretty weak. I'm not huge on it. It's okay. Has some moments, but I feel overall it's kind of weak. The second game's excellent. So the second game was never localized, but there is a fan translation. I cannot say whether or not that's the way I played it. And I cannot say that you should maybe go and use a emulator to do the fan translation and play this excellent game. I cannot say that you should do that on YouTube because, of course, that'd be illegal. But it's an excellent game. I wish it would get localized properly, and these would get put into an HD compilation as well. I'd love to see a third Investigations. Because Investigations 2, no joke, is probably the second best game in the entire overall series. Picross 3D. It is Picross. Another Picross. There's a million Picrosses, so if you don't know what you're getting into with Picross at this point, don't know what to tell you. I'm going to go through some Pokemon. I'm going to kind of go fast through Pokemon. So we got mainline Pokemons here. Well, we got the remakes, Art Gold, Soul Silver. Really great remakes of Gen 2. We have Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Pokemon right now is so expensive on DS. I would not recommend trying to buy them right now. These games are incredibly common at garage sales. And you should not pay more than the $100 asking price complete for these. But I never really played much of Gen 4, so I'm kind of looking forward to the Gen 4 remake. Even if it is a bit controversial, because it's kind of a gen that I kind of skipped. But I really liked Pokemon Black and White. I played White, and I thought it was pretty good. It's really that's the last Pokemon game I played through to the end. I really liked Pokemon White. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't play Black 2, and I don't have White 2. I have not played the Black and White sequels. I don't know. I'm kind of in a Pokemon fatigue with the mainline games. I like the series as a whole. And the spin-offs, for example, really interesting spin-off. But here's Pokemon Conquest. But overall, I'm kind of tired. But Pokemon Conquest is a strategy Pokemon game, which is really cool. It's a style of Nobunaga's Ambition, the Koei Tecmo strategy game. It is developed by Koei Tecmo. Really interesting game. This one's definitely starting to get a little higher up there, so you might want to know that. Just trying to figure where we're going next year. Some more Pokemons. Pokemon is, definitely had some fun on the DS. A lot of games here. I've never been too big into Mystery Dungeon, so I don't have much to say about those. Pokemon Ranger. I know that people really liked the second and third Pokemon Rangers to maybe just Almia. But I only played the first one and I didn't really think it was that great. I only tried the first one. I didn't stick with it too long. Here's another series I really, really like. And kind of not really doing much anymore, but the Professor Layton series. I'm not huge on the first one, but 2 is pretty good, 3 is really great, and 4 is pretty good. And these are some DS gems, must-haves in the DS collection. Really charming platformers, or not platformers, puzzle games. Great stuff. Must-haves, I'd say. Radiant Historia, this is an Atlas RPG, and it is really good. There's also a remake on the 3DS, or like an enhanced version on the 3DS. Rhythm Heaven. I really like Rhythm Heaven. I think it's really, really charming. I really like its style. I really like its music. I really like the gameplay. It feels really great to play. Rhythm Heaven is another series that both the DS and the Wii game are going up in price, which is unfortunate because there's no other way to play Rhythm Heaven. There's not been a new game. I mean, there is a 3DS compilation game, but cool series. I wish they would do something with it. It's about time for them to make a new Rhythm Heaven game. Here's some pretty cool games. Scribblenauts. It's going to stand up or not. I don't know. Scribblenauts and Scribblenauts or Super Scribblenauts. These are pretty fun. I really liked these ones as a kid playing these. And yeah, I mean, they're puzzle games. You could write pretty much anything in there to solve the puzzle. And it can get pretty crazy. It's pretty in-depth for what they do with it. It is really, really cool concept. It's really cool execution. I think Super Scribblenauts is better because you can add, describing. You can describe the thing. So you could be like, instead of, I want, a cannon, you could say, I want a big cannon, and just stuff like that. It's really fun, really charming. Definitely recommend these ones as well. I think these are still pretty cheap, and they're worth checking out. They are fun time. The Sonic Colors. This is actually, believe it or not, pretty decent Sonic game on the DS. So, maybe you don't believe me. You might not believe that there is a decent Sonic game on the DS, but it plays a lot like the Rush games, the Sonic Rush games. So I know a lot of people only care about the Wii game of Sonic Colors and don't really think too much about that one, but it's a worthy addition to the library. Sonic Chronicles. This is not a good Sonic game on the DS. I can't believe, some people might not believe that there's a bad Sonic game on the DS, but there is. This is, believe it or not, a Sonic RPG developed by BioWare. BioWare of like Mass Effect, Dragon Age. Yes, Knights of the Old Republic BioWare. They made this, and it sucks. It's bad. The music is atrocious. Nothing about it is good. Some Sonic games I'm pretty fond of. Sonic Rush and Sonic Rush Adventure. I don't know if they're going to stand up, but I like these ones. These ones are pretty solid. Sonic was kind of faltering at this point. I don't think that's a news to anybody, but got to say the DS games are pretty solid. So, all right, let's see where we're going next here. Spyro Shadow Legacy. I believe at the time this was actually considered to be Spyro 6, believe it or not, but that's kind of been pulled back now. Not a good game. Star Fox Command. This is the weird game with like the weird fan fiction-y, almost fan fiction tier endings. I've not really played too much of this one just because, I don't know, Star Fox is fine. Star Fox 64 is a classic. It's really great, but I mean, Assault's pretty good too, but it's other than that, it's like, do I need to play Star Fox Command on the DS? Do I really have to? Not a high priority at the least. Super Princess Peach, kind of a cute idea. Not a bad game by any means. Kind of interesting, worth checking out. Don't have much to say about that one. Ugh. Super Mario 64, pretty solid little port of Mario 64 to the DS. Really nice launch title. Really kind of interesting to look back and think of how, GBA games, you couldn't really do 3D in any decent way. And then to kind of jump to the DS and have this game is pretty much a launch title. And you have full 3D. It's in some ways it looks better than the N64 games, and not all ways, but pretty interesting title. Pretty great way to experience Mario 64. I don't know. I don't think I'd like it better than the original just because the D-pad controls and everything for a 3D game aren't optimal, but Super Monkey Ball Touch and Roll. I like Monkey Ball. I think it's fun. I'm really bad at it, but I think it's really, really fun. But mostly when I say that, I'm talking about the first two games on the GameCube. And I'm probably not talking about Super Monkey Ball Touch and Roll on the DS. So we're coming back down to the final little stack of games here. Another game I got when I was in Japan, Tales of the Tempest. I like the Tales series, and I don't believe we got this one in any way over here. A kind of a weird one. Teresia, I believe that's how it's pronounced. So this is like a first-person kind of horror adventure game. It's not great, but it's definitely interesting, especially for the DS. One of the few games to be rated M on the DS, and maybe the only M-rated game I actually have in my collection on the Nintendo DS, because there's not very many rated that. Oh no, I have 999, which is rated M. Doesn't really matter anyway. But kind of an interesting game, even if it's not, the best by any means. Time Hollow. I liked this one. This was another kind of adventure game. It's nothing special. Like this game I think this game's hard to find. It took me a while to track down a copy of this, and I think it's going for a decent amount these days. I wouldn't probably recommend tracking it down and picking up it immediately, but it's pretty good. It's definitely worthwhile if you like games like this. If you like kind of adventure games like this, narrative-based adventure games. It is worth checking out, text-based adventure games. I don't remember much about it. I might talk about how much the story resonated with me. It was an interesting concept, maybe a little bit corny, but, what are you going to do? The World Ends With You. So this is one I got to give another shot. I tried this one 7 or 8 years ago, I tried playing this one, and I couldn't get into it. It was in this period though where I just wasn't really feeling like playing games too much. I was kind of just couldn't find a good game that I wanted to stick around with, so I got to give this one another shot. I really like the aesthetic and everything, and I really want to play the sequel when it comes out. So got to give this one another go. Personal Trainer Cooking. This is a cooking trainer game for the DS. I have it still sealed. I got it at a garage sale for $1. Which is interesting about this is that it's developed or published by Nintendo, but it's actually developed by a studio called Indie Zero, which probably is best known for their Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy games, stuff like that. The game Sushi Striker on the Switch and on the 3DS, and also Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory right now they just came out. So they made this. Why do I know who made a cooking app for the DS? Why do I know that? I don't know. Yoshi's Island DS. So Nintendo had this weird partnership with this company called Rtoon. They would make games for them. They're now called RZest, and I don't think they're a very good publisher or not developer. I don't know why Nintendo kept teaming up with them. This is probably their best game, and I'm not crazy about this one. They also did Blinx the Time Sweeper on Xbox and some Club Penguin games. Their most recent game is the 2021 classic beloved gem of a game, Balan Wonderworld, if anyone wanted to know where they were now. Finally got here. This should really be actually be at our legacy, but Ease books 1 and 2. So at a garage sale, not a garage sale, in a flea market in 2013, I found this game, the outer box with the CD, and I couldn't find the game. And then it took me 6 years to find a copy of the game complete in the box, and it came out when it showed up on my local game store. I snapped it up. Ease is really interesting, by Nihon Falcom, a really, really interesting RPG developer. I think it needs a lot more credit than they deserve. They're really fascinating. They also do the Trails of series, not Tales of, Trails of, so like Trails of Cold Steel, Trails in the Sky, Legend of Heroes. So really cool developer. They've been around. They're ancient. They've been around since, early gaming, early Japanese PC gaming. I definitely recommend a video. I think it's called Early History of Nihon Falcom. Really, really great little documentary video about them. And that's where I'll leave it there. And that's it. I made it through my DS collection in 41 minutes. If anyone is watching this to the end, leave me a comment down below. It's always unimaginable to me that anyone watched this all the way to the end. But thank you if you did. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. Comment down below with your favorite DS games. I know the DS library is massive. I made a list of like every interesting DS game to get, and it's huge. It's like near on like 200 games. So I'd like to be collecting for the DS for a while. Hopefully for, my sake and all of our sake, the prices go down a little bit and aren't so insane. But we'll have to see about that. Other than that, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Just hit 3,000 subscribers, so I thank you guys a lot for that. Follow me on Twitter at ObjoGaming, and I will see you next time.